Hello, 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 everybody. As always, I am Statius Maximus El Geeko Supremo with extra cheese, your lover boy on the railroads of love. We are playing tonight Love on the Peacock Express. Is a indie dating sim that I found on Itch.io. I will post up the link in the YouTube description once it's up on my YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out. Just do a search on MrKaPao, all one word, MrKaPao, and yeah, we are on the final story arc of the game. And well, let's dive right on in. Since we are playing a female investigator, we're going to name ourselves for this game MrKaPao. Move the mic a little bit. There you go. A light breeze slips through the Kai station as the Peacock Express pulls up on the tracks. This late in summer, it's starting to cool down, and I'm grateful for my jacket. That's not going to stop me from going on vacation. I've been waiting for months. Please line up to the train in a orderly fashion. The conductor will take your passes, one at a time. Despite her request, the crowd surges forward, jostling me into the very center. Dodging bags and wayward elbows, I squeeze my way into the actual line as the door to the train slides open. It's a full week trip from start to finish, weaving around the country with stops in half a dozen major cities. For once, I could kick back and take the ultimate scenic route. Tickets are out, darling. We have a lot of you to get through. The conductor fills the doorway with a burst of flair and color. Her rich red uniform, lined with gold, she winks when I catch her eye, and heat rushes up to my face. Be a little while before she gets to me, though. You're first in line, miss. She's cut off by a ticket being shoved underneath her chin. The woman in front is tall, silver, and sharp as a polished blade. If you would. Of course, ma'am. Wouldn't want to hold up a VIP. A bright smile from the conductor goes unanswered, and once she's ripped off the tab of the ticket, the other woman vanishes inside the main cart. Next, I scoot a couple of steps forward when there's a gap in the line, only to hear the conductor grunt with effort as two large canary yellow suitcases are urged right into her hands. Sorry, if you could help me with these real quick. Get out of your hair. No problem, ma'am. How many of these do you have? Oh, 5. No, 6? Excellent. It's hard not to laugh as the conductor tries to juggle the suitcases, tickets, and gracefully accept the woman's apologies all at once. The passenger does her best to help, but there are just so many bags. Alright, I'll be back, everyone. She returns a moment later, smoothing out the wrinkles in her vest, and calls up the next person in line. It's an older woman with her hair cut short and clean, reaching into the pocket of her jeans, taking out a brown wallet. Then she hesitates, letting that one drop before pulling a black wallet from her jacket instead. Here you go, miss. Head on to the back, but try not to be a stranger to everyone, okay? It's a pleasure trip. I'll keep that in mind. Wouldn't want to disappoint a lady. The scar across her mouth tugs tight when she smiles. A little flustered, the conductor waves her inside the train. An X? Oh, that's me. At least I don't have a lot of baggage to carry on board. Hello, sweetheart. Tickets, please. Here you go. She holds it up to the light for a moment before tearing off the shoulder and handing the rest of the ticket back. I wonder if the conductor likes her job. I can always ask. So, is this exciting as it looks? Her laughter is light, almost playful. I catch a twinkle in the conductor's eye as she looks me over from head to toe. What do you think? Exciting, depending on your definition. It might be, depending on what you do for a living. Well, I'm a private investigator. Like the classic type, sniffing out clues, poring over files in my tiny office at home. Don't have enough cases to hire a secretary, though. Hopefully I will soon. Are you now? Interesting. Then, shouldn't you know whether or not I like my job? Sharpen your eye, gumshoe. That's funny. The symbol on her hat doesn't match the one on the outside of the train. Nice hat. Now she looks even more amused. Maybe that's a good thing? Why, thank you. I had to modify it a touch myself. She's definitely teasing me. That could also mean that the conductor really does like her job, or she's just being snarky to call attention to obvious. Either way, she's pretty and a little older than I expected at first glance. You probably like it. I know a fake smile when I see one. A low chuckle leaves the conductor's lips. Are you sure about that? There are so many reasons to smile. Her clothes look brand new, like they come right off the rack. Either the train company changed them with every season, or she hasn't been doing her job very long. See, well, you make the fall colors look really good. The light brightens the conductor's eyes. I'm not sure how much that would show on my annual review, but I appreciate it. Before I can open my mouth again, the conductor hushes me with a light squeeze on one shoulder. Fun as it is to chat, there's plenty of people in line behind you. And I'm afraid your ticket wasn't an early bird reservation, no assigned seat. What does that mean? It means you have to choose who to share the cart with. The whole passenger manifest is a mile long, so how about you make my life a little easier and choose from the 3 ladies that already come aboard. I'm sure they'll all make for charming company. She holds out a trio of tickets for me, and I take a closer look. Alright, we finished the story arc with Iris, with Vic, now with this lady, this Silver Fox. I remember the silver-haired woman the one who so boldly cut to the front of the line. A woman like that knows what she wants and how to get it. The thought gives me a little thrill. Plus, her behavior tickled my curiosity. Why has she been in such a hurry? I would like this cabin, please. The conductor chuckles, seemingly in anticipation. The VIP cabin. You're a lady with high standards. Unfortunately for you, so is its current resident. Let's hope you can convince her to let you stay. Oh, well, if it's a problem, I can move along, please. We're on a tight schedule. Whoever is behind me in line pushes me forward. I gather my luggage and make my way to the proper cabin, suddenly nervous about my choice. Toot toot. Each cabin on the Peacock Express is as comfortable and aesthetically pleasing as it needs to be, but the VIP cabins are something else. The cushions are softer, the baubles are shinier, the seats more spacious. I'm surprised the conductor let a common passenger like me set foot in a VIP cabin, let alone occupy one. The sharp-looking woman from before sits in one of the seats. A stack of manila folders sits beside her. She seems too distracted perusing papers to notice my entrance. Hello, don't mind me. I'm just gonna stow my things away. I shove my things in one of the compartments above my head. When I turn back around, her eyes lock with mine in a cold, steely gaze. The moment is brief, however, and she wordlessly returns her attention to her files. I sit in the seat across from her. Well, it looks like we'll be sharing a car for the journey. My name is MrKaPao, private investigator. Cassandra, I'm charmed. Wow. She didn't even look up that time. Talk about frosty reception. Good thing I'm an expert at cracking open cold cases. I gesture to the window and look outwards. It's a beautiful time of year to be traveling, isn't it? I was a little disappointed when I couldn't squeeze any vacation time in when it was warmer, but the sight of leaves changing, it made it worth the wait. And this train is so enchanting. I bet it'll look downright picturesque from the outside, a luxury train racing across the countryside. I hear a scoff. I turn to see Cassandra has shut one of the manila folders in her lap. Her lips pursed in a thin line. Astounding. It seems that VIP tickets mean absolutely nothing these days. Brr. Oh, you expected to have a car to yourself? I take it maybe it's usually the case, but it sounds like this ride is at full capacity, so yeah. Looks like you're stuck with me. But trust me when I tell you, I am going to be the most interesting and charming train buddy you could have. She rolls her eyes and starts to shift through another stack of papers. But you seem like a woman of action. You're on a fancy train bound to travel the countryside for a week, but you're dressed as sharp as a tack, like you're still on the job. You're digging through those folders, but you're not just browsing, you're looking for something. You have evidence in your hand and you're trying to piece it together. Combine that with a freshly pressed suit and a desire for a private cabin, you are an agent for the CIA. Or, shoot, might be a Russian spy. Cassandra sighs heavily. She abandons the folders and, oh my god, I accused her of being a spy, and she's reaching for something in one of her suits in her pockets. I begin to sweat as she withdraws a tiny case from her pocket, opens it, and brandishes a deadly set of business cards. Cassandra, what are you? Be quiet and pay attention. Cassandra clutches the card between two hands, twists, tearing them clean down the middle. She hands me the contents of one in her hands and tossing the rest back in her case. Given that you absolutely refuse to leave me in peace, I will humor you for the time being. In your hand are pieces of business cards from various sources. One of them belongs to me. If you could correctly guess my last name and what I do, then I might consider you worthy of my attention. My heart races. A test of deduction to impress a woman? Well, now, this I could do. Before I shift through the business cards, let's have a look at Cassandra. Not only does the jacket look crisp and clean, it seems to be custom tailored. It fits her perfectly. No wedding ring, but I can see a gold watch peeking from the edge of her sleeves. Between that and the suit, she's obviously pretty wealthy. She's also right-handed, and judging by how she's sorted through those papers, as for her physical appearance, the lines around her mouth and eyes, as well as that silver hair, put her somewhere around her late 50s or early 60s. She looks great though. There's not a hair out of place. Her gaze is alert and confident, and her features are sharp and defined. Gosh, I hope I'm not blushing. At any rate, none of these details are screaming any one occupation. She could be a politician, a businesswoman, a clown in disguise, or a secret agent. Does your investigation usually require that much gawking? Of course, appearances could say a lot about a person. In my line of work, sometimes you really can judge a book by its cover. Interesting. We agree on that much, at least. Oh yeah? Well, you weren't exactly keeping your eyes to yourself just now. What do you think when you look at me? Get back to work. Yes, ma'am. I start to flip through the card scraps Cassandra gave me. For each one, the only information left intact seems to be the surname. The names are as follows. Let's see, I can't pronounce that. Flores, Sanchez, Valdez, Ezra, Tamaki, and Kite. They're all different names, but wait a second. These business cards. They all look the same. Hardly. Here, notice the eggshell coloring and the Romanian type, and this one here, bone with Sicilian rail. You see? Completely different. Whoever wrote this, I have a theory. Probably saw American Psycho with the business card scene. Just saying. A bit of my own little deduction. Hold up. Now that I'm looking these over, the name Kite rings a bell. That's it. We departed from Kite Station. Then that means your name is Cassandra Kite, isn't it? CEO of Kite Transit? For the first time, I see a hint of smile from Cassandra. A smile, but it makes me flush with pride. That's right, I'm a huge name in the transportation and infrastructure. Oh, in transportation and infrastructure. But that means you're one of the richest CEOs in the world. Right, again. You can see then why I might have some more important things to do than sit and chat with a random passenger. So there you have it. There you have it. You prove you have a few tricks up your sleeves, and I prove that I'm a very, very busy woman. In other words, stop bothering me. Somehow her words only makes me blush harder. I was close to my mark with the first guess, then you left on, wasn't I? Excuse me? Maybe you're no secret agent, but you really are looking for something. You seemed really concerned when you were searching through those files. ... Don't take this the wrong way, but you clearly have a problem. Let's see. Don't take this the wrong way, but you clearly have a problem. The kind of problem a private investigator might be able to solve. ... Sigh. Very well, yes. I seem to have stumbled upon a bit of mess. You mentioned employing the skills of a private investigator. Where could I find one of those in the middle of an extended train excursion? Well, I guess I could put my vacation on pause. Very well, consider yourself hired, MrKaPao, on one condition. You name it, you got it. Cassandra's eyes flit over me. Then she holds my gaze. The terms are simple. If you could solve this debacle for me, I will reward you graciously as you are due. If you fail, however, you're not to speak for me for the remainder of the trip. Is that understood? Yes, ma'am. That sounds fair to me. So, what's the job? She pauses one last time, considering, then she picks her way through one of the folders on her laps until she plucks a stapled packet from its depths. Before we discuss this any further, you must sign this. I sip the packet and skim the contents. It's a lot of legal jargon, but I managed to glean enough meaning from it to understand its purpose. This is a non-disclosure agreement. Indeed, it is considered a formality that would let you sue the pants off me, sure, in due time. Wait, what? Will you sign it or not? You're trying my patience as it is. Okay, let's see. I'd like to know a little more before accidentally signing my soul away to the devil. Devil or no, I can't tell you anything without knowing you won't leak internal secrets to anyone. You will sign it or we're done here. Well, alright, I'll just have to trust that there are no devil horns hiding in those silver locks. I scribble MrKaPao, P.I. in the designated space. Cassandra accepts it and files it away. She then places the stack of folders on the seat beside her and faces me squarely, staring with an intensity that affirms the gravity of her situation. In simple terms, I believe one of my employees has betrayed me. Betrayed? In what way? That is what I'm trying to find out. If someone means to have me removed from the executive board, I need to know who they are and how they are doing it. I see. So, if you don't know what they're doing to sabotage you, how do you know someone's after you in the first place? There has been rumors that I cannot ignore. So I had my secretary assemble as much possible evidence as she could find. Sure enough, I'm finding oddities. Numbers that don't add up. People in the company I don't remember existing. I just haven't been able to fully parse it all. It's all in front of me, but I don't know who the evidence implicates. If I don't identify the culprit by the time of my daughter's piano recital, I'm afraid it will be too late. Your daughter's recital? Yes, that was originally the end goal of this trip. I was going to have a pleasant train ride in a luxury cabin and travel and arrive at our destination in time to see my daughter perform. Instead, I'm going to be racking my brains over these documents while the ghost of my job security haunts my every waking hour. Yikes. Talk about poor timing. Well, can you tell me a little bit about your daughter? Just out of curiosity. To my surprise, Cassandra's scowl softens. Yes, of course. My daughter turned 10 last June. I adopted her when she was only an infant and have raised her on my own ever since. Well, except when I needed to hire a nanny. I've been away overseeing a critical project for the last week and a half, and I'm eager to return home to see her and the product of her piano lessons. But if those rumors turn out to be true and I'm ousted from the board, she closes her eyes and shakes her head. When Cassandra looks at me again, her scowl has returned. Enough small talk. Now that you know the core details, I need to know that you are committed to helping me solve this riddle. Will you help me? I look at Cassandra in her well-pressed suit and perfectly styled hair. She is the very picture of an important, powerful woman, but here she is asking for my help. Maybe she was only humoring me at first, but I think now all her cards are out on the table and she's really worried. After all, if she loses her job, it won't be just her that's affected. She's thinking about her daughter too. Then again, she's one of the richest CEOs in the world. In all likelihood, she'll have some money to fall back on. Her pride might be what's in greater danger here. Either way, I can't shake the feeling I got when Cassandra smiled at me. That feeling alone is enough to sway my decision. I stick my open hand towards her. Miss Kite, you can count on me. I'm on the case. Amusement shows in the faint creases around her eyes. She takes my hand and shakes it. Glad to hear it, Miss. Miss KaPao. We'll start here. Cassandra gathers her stack of files and dumps them in my arms. On top is a cover letter that says, "Here are the documents you requested, Miss Kite." A messy signature adorns the bottom. Placing the letter aside, I make my way through the files, skimming each of them as Cassandra speaks. The rumors actually started a month ago. I thought little of them at first. When you're in a position of power, you hear whispers all the time, but their persistence demanded my attention. I kept a wary eye on our numbers, but never saw anything conclusive. It wasn't until I had everything in front of me that I realized just how serious the danger is. I want to agree with her and say that these reports look totally shady, but the truth is, I have no idea what I'm looking at. They're so full of busy graphs and corporate jargon, I can't make heads or tails out of any of it. Meanwhile, Cassandra's getting into full businesswoman mode, talking about quarterly reports and holdings and partnerships, somehow all in the same breath. "Hey, Cassandra?" She pauses and raises an eyebrow. "What is it?" I don't think we're going to find anything just by looking at reports. I mean, sure, you notice a few quirks in the files, but understanding the big picture might require us a little more humanistic approach. I don't understand what you mean. What I'm saying is you need to understand the traitor's motive. Figuring out why they're doing this will help us narrow down our list of suspects. Numbers and graphs don't show motive, though. People do. Cassandra frowns at this, knitting her brow into a deep scowl. She doesn't protest, though. In fact, she turns to dig something out of her bag. Eventually, she plucks a photo from within and hands it to me. "Here. This is a photo of the executive board of Kite Transit. My top suspects are circled in red. They have both the power and ability to dethrone me." Okay. Start here. I examined the leftmost circled figure. She appears to be a middle-aged woman, a bit younger than Cassandra. "This is our chief operating officer and my second command. The COO has power over human resources. You think the second in command might want to be the first in command? Possibly. I've rejected quite a few people she wanted me to hire. Maybe she's grown tired of butting heads with me. If I was out of picture, she'll be able to bring as many of her own people as she'd like." The middle figure is a older, balding man, the chief financial officer. As CFO, he handles financial risk. He's meek, almost spineless really, but he's also the one to take whatever path leads to the most money. With me gone, he would be able to cut as many corners as he like and make inordinate sums of money. Plus, he know how to manage it all. So the motive here is money. To an extent, yes. Look at the rightmost circle figure. They seem to be a little younger than the others. This is the Chief Information Officer, or CIO. They manage our databases and keep Kite Transit fitted with the latest innovations in transport. To be honest, they aren't the type to grasp for money or power. They rarely express themselves in anything beyond their computer screens. So why are they on the suspect list. Of the three, they're the one with the ability to manipulate data. Give some numbers a nudge in just the right places and it could cause a chain reaction, eventually resulting in disaster. A disaster which naturally would be pinned on me. Your suspects are your top board members. Huh. What's wrong? Let's see, let's go with... I guess no corporation is complete without its shady characters, huh? Cassandra looks unamused. She probably doesn't like jokes poking fun at her life's work. Moving on. Perhaps I'm not painting the board in the best light. Despite my miscomings, they are capable workers and have been for years. But you know how these old partnerships go. Spend too much time with someone and you grow sick of them. I just didn't expect one of them to be this spiteful. So basically you think the primary motive is general animosity? That seems a little far-fetched, to be honest. There's usually some kind of catalyst, a final straw sort of thing. Have there been any fights between you or any other board members that may have pushed them over the edge? We often have petty squabbles over small details such as the nature of the business, but there's been no major incidences in recent memory. Then why do you think that's the motive? Cassandra sighs. It's clear her patience is wearing thin. Nevertheless, she maintains her composure and reaches into her files again. This is the only proof that I have that one of them is unhappy with me. Try telling me that isn't evidence enough. Cassandra fishes out a note and hands it to me. I examine it closely. I was kind of hoping it would be the note that'd be written out in a bunch of cutouts of letters from magazines and newspapers like in the movies, but no luck. The message is handwritten on the kind of paper you find in an office printer. It reads, I deserve your place. I found it pinned on my desk a week ago. Clearly someone is unhappy with their position, unhappy enough to confirm my suspicions in very plain terms. But it makes no sense at all. I've been consistently generous with promotions, bonuses, and benefits. I give them all what they deserved, and none of them have expressed desire for more. Why the sudden discontent? I look at the photo again, staring at each board member in turn. They each have similar plastered-on smiles, the kind you give for these obligatory group photos. Even Cassandra's expression is marginally less dour. One of these people must be the culprit. It's clear the note wasn't left by some random prankster. It had to be someone with access to Cassandra's desk. Yet, as I consider each option, recounting what she told me about each suspect, something doesn't feel quite right. Each suspect has a vague reason to dispose Cassandra, sure, but none of them seem worth the risk. The motives are too weak. And if Cassandra is to believe, there haven't been any serious disagreements recently that may have prompted the culprit to turn on her. No, there must have been something else, some other factor that I'm not seeing. Let's look at this photo one more time. We have the CEO, the COO, and the CFO. Oh, and the CIO. Wait a second. Cassandra said this photo includes Kite Transit's executive board, but they're all in the shot, Cassandra, who took this photo? Cassandra scoffs and rolls her eyes. I think it's the biggest display of emotion I've managed to get out of her. What, may I ask, does this have to do with the case? You're not listening. I told you, these are the only three people who could have been the traitor. I hired you to be operating under the assumption that you would take this seriously. I take all my cases very seriously, Miss Kite. I just want to know as much as possible before I can get the full picture. Literally, in this case. Cassandra peers at me, curiously, considering. Then she sighs and shrugs. You're right, of course. You have to forgive me. This whole fiasco has me flustered. My secretary took the photo. Ironically, even though she isn't in the shot, she is the most reliable person in my life at present. She ensures every task is completed to the letter, even when it means staying late. She handles my appointments, filters my phone calls, picks up my morning coffee, performs nearly any task you could think of. My life would be chaos without her. She's been angling for a promotion for years, but I could say without a doubt that there's no person I'd rather have handling my schedule. She's irreplaceable. Hearing that, an idea pops in my head. I rummage till I find the cover of the letter again. I pointed to the scribbled name at the bottom of the page. Is this the secretary's signature then? Indeed, she gathered all the documents you could see as per my request. I nod and hold a threatening note so that it's adjacent to the cover letter's signature. It appears that the two are written in the same pen. In addition, though the signature is less legible, there are a few quirks that are present in both documents. The lack of slope, the tiny lettering, the closed loops. There is, without a doubt about it, the person who signed the letter also wrote the threat. Cassandra, did you have any suspects aside from those three on the executive board? No, nobody else has the ability to affect these reports in any such way. But you don't have any definitive evidences pointing to any of them, and you say you've been fair to each of them in regards to pay and benefits. In a nutshell, yes. But you've been denying your secretary's request for a promotion. I have, but for good reason. Does she see it the same way? Cassandra pauses. She watches me through narrowed eyes. What do you mean? Speak plainly. I mean, I don't think someone who was happy with their position would continue to ask for a promotion. Your secretary has been working dutifully, more so than most of the executive board. It sounds like, but there's no payoff. That has to be tiring after years of hard work. With this in mind, don't you think there's a possibility that she could be the culprit? Cassandra gives me an absolutely incredulous look, her eyes wide. Excuse me, I must have misheard. It sounded like you said my secretary of all people is the traitor. That's right. If you allow me to explain, you come to the conclusion after listening to me rave about my secretary's reliability and loyalty. I don't think she's as loyal as you think. In fact, I think she's plotting against you. But that's impossible. She has no real power over me. She hasn't money nor the status. Why, it would be like David trying to take down Goliath. Didn't David win that one? Anyway, besides, this isn't the best time to correct her. I know it's hard to believe, but if you let me lay out the evidence, I think you'll start to understand. I certainly hope so. Now then, first of all, there are some unique quirks found in the note and cover signature. Quirks? What do you mean? Little details to handwriting. Things like how the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Everyone writes differently, so their handwriting is like a fingerprint. I see. So you're saying that the same hand penned both the signature and the note? Exactly. See, right here, the letters are about the same size, they lean the same way, plus the ink looks to be the same. I see. There are a fair few similarities, now that I'm looking more closely. That said, I hope you consider more evidence than a messy signature and a vague note. For sure, we have to consider motive too. Let's see. You might want to think about changing your secretary's job title to coffee fetcher. I think your secretary feels held back. You said so yourself, right? She wants a promotion, but you keep turning her down. She wouldn't ask for a promotion unless she wanted to move up in the world. On the flip side, you give the board members benefits aplenty. They don't have as much of a reason to reach for more. In fact, seeing you give promotions and benefits to the people at top probably frustrates her even more. What is it? Nothing. You have more evidence, I suspect? Yes, I have one more thing. These files you said didn't add up. Your secretary put them together. Yes, I know. I asked you this. I told you this, remember? Right. That means she could put whatever she wanted in them. I suppose? What are you going on with this? I mean to say is that your secretary had total power over what was in those files. You said so yourself. The numbers in those reports made no sense. She must have included false data and records. Records that could point to one of your co-workers as a culprit. And if you fired one of them thinking that they were the traitor, then you be the one getting your pants sewed off and removed from the board. Removed from the board. Good Lord, I think you may be right. I expected Cassandra to get angry again. Abbott at her secretary instead of me this time, but instead she sits in silence, a deep crease in her brow. Cassandra, are you okay? Certainly not. Would you be fine in my position? I've just learned that my most loyal employee has been lying to me. I should be enraged at this, but I must admit, I feel strange. I can see her reasoning so clearly now. I can see myself through her eyes. And I fear I may be the one in the wrong. I stare at her, wondering if I heard correctly. One of the wealthiest CEOs in the world admitting she's wrong and a subordinate is right? If I hadn't signed a non-disclosure agreement, I would consider recording this. Whoops, she's still talking. Focus, MrKaPao. Cool it on the jokes. And yet, even if there was never any true danger, her actions are in direct violation of company rules. I should be thinking about firing her, not rewarding her with a promotion. She pauses again, consumed by indecision. Eventually she looks at me and blinks in puzzlement. You're being unusually quiet. Don't you have any thoughts on this situation? Oh, I guess that's her way of asking me how I would treat her secretary were I in her place. Alright. Your secretary deserves more. You should reward her dedication. Your secretary have broken your trust and try to ruin everything you work for. Give her. You know what? I'm gonna go with ruthless. This actually makes more sense. Trust is a big thing with me. So once you have broken my trust, yeah, you are up. Yeah, you are up a creek without a paddles. Your secretary have broken your trust and try to ruin everything you work for. Give her the boot. You're supposed to kick the bad guy's butt, not give them the keys to the city. Show her and everyone else who's boss. If you promote her, there's a good chance she won't be happy for long. She'll keep clawing her way up, breaking rules and ruining lives along the way. It's a tough choice letting go of someone you spent years working alongside, but you've got to do what you got to do. I mean, you're the CEO, right? You probably do stuff like this all the time. ... I see. I will keep your suggestion in mind. I'm going to wait until I return to work to make that decision, however. It isn't one that should be made lightly, not when someone's livelihood is in the palm of my hand. Well, it's a good thing you have a whole luxury train ride to think about it then. Indeed, I much rather think about that than spend the rest of my trip in fear of losing my position or missing my daughter's recital, as it were. So, I've totally convinced you then. Cassandra's lips work in a weary smile. Beyond a doubt, your evidence is strong and your deductions make much more sense than my clumsy attempts at sleuthing. You should be honored, detective. Few are able to perform to my standards. It's significantly more than I expected from a strange young girl barging into my train car, at the very least. It's kind of a habit of mine now that you mention it. Oh, and Cassandra, yes? I'm glad we solved this mystery together. Not just for my sake, but for you and your daughters too. I think you're a kind person underneath the cold businesswoman exterior. Oh, really? And do you have any evidence to support this claim? Lenny. You've made it a point to shrug it off, but you clearly care a lot for your employees and you give them benefits they deserve, mostly, and you value them despite their flaws. You were empathetic about your secretary's skills and heartbroken when you learned she lied to you. And don't think I didn't notice how soft you got when I asked you about your daughter. How about it? Do those deductions sound about right? Cassandra smiles again, peering at me with a knowing gaze. I ventured that certain inclinations may cloud your judgment in this instance, but thank you. That is generous of you to say. Cassandra looks at the files scattered across the cabin, at all the graphs, charts, and records. Well, I suppose we won't be needing these anymore. Do you want help putting them away? No, thank you. This is one mess I can take care of myself. Cassandra gathers the papers unsorted. Understandable given that a good portion are full of false data, and stores them in her luggage. When she finishes, she sits beside me and breathes a exhausted sigh. I lean back into the cushy seat and do the same. I definitely do not think about the fact that it's the closest Cassandra has sat next to me. I look across the cabin to the window. The sky started to turn colors, blushing from shades of red and pink as the sun sinks to the horizon. We're well into the countryside now, racing past distant hills with the occasional farm dotting the fields around us. At one point, we passed some kind of ranch with a field full of horses. I turned to point them out to Cassandra. Rich people love horses, only to catch her staring at me. I nearly forgot. I promise you a reward for your efforts in the event of your success. What? Oh, right. You did say that. What did you have in mind? Well, money is easily given, as are tickets to travel wherever you please. Yet, I can't help but feel though you deserve a little something extra. You displayed wit and charm. It would be unfair to give you something that requires so little effort on my part. Hey, don't worry about it. It's what I do, Wait, hold on. Do you say charm? Cassandra smirks. For a moment, she looks almost devilish. I have an idea. I spent all this time talking about myself, yet I barely know you. We have quite some time left on this trip, so why don't we spend it getting to know each other? Yeah, yes. I think I would much enjoy your company. Cassandra laughs in earnest. My face and ears are undoubtedly competing with the sunset's flushed hues. I look away in feeble attempt to hide my embarrassment, but long fingers trace the edge of my jaw, guiding my attention back to Cassandra. Don't be shy. She tilts my chin with a chuckle. Despite her command, I am left speechless. She frowns, disappointed. I've always been a proponent of delayed gratifications myself, but she brushes her thumb across the edge of my lower lips. My pause leaps at her touch. I suppose young blood may burn harder than my own these days. I don't want to lose my edge. Yeah, you can't let yourself out of practice, right? Cheers. Sandra doesn't answer, but smiles and looks over my flushed expression. Then she tilts her head and guides me forward. Her kiss is firm, but not passionless. It lingers, but not nearly long enough. I rest my hands at her wrist under her open jacket where it's warm. I lean forward, offering another kiss, but she draws away with a soft chuckle. Eager to please, aren't we? Let's put that to use and find a more enjoyable way to spend our evening. I catch myself nodding. I catch myself nearly swooning at the suggestion. I shake the feeling with an enthusiastic nod. Yes, ma'am. Cassandra laughs again. I feel a hand at my hip. Good girl. And that, folks, is the last story arc on love on the Peacock Express. We have romance 3 very attractive ladies, and I guess this is the point of the evening where I bid you adieu, or until next time. As always, I am MrKaPao, and you can find me on social media under my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/MichaelPao does stuff, because I do, well, a lot of stuff. Then there's my Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram, all under at MrKaPao, all one word, MrKaPao. Oh, and you can also follow me on Twitter at MPCalamity. So, until next time, happy gaming.